Hello, we're going to be having a look at the Emigree by Carol Rumens, and this has been written for my classes who are aiming for a level 5, a grade 5. So I'm not going to be stressing about the different types of language terminology and going more into depth of the more advanced techniques. But if you're looking to be getting a level 5, this is a good way to look at a poem. Okay, now it starts off with, we've got a picture of Carol at the top. She was born in London, which is quite important because London is obviously a very multicultural city. So when she was writing this poem, Carol Rumens was thinking about this idea of people being from elsewhere and what this other place would be like and what their memories of it would be like. And it's called Emigree, which is a female version of somebody who's moved from one country to another, usually for reasons to do with war, so they're like a refugee, or economic reasons. So there's always a conflict that has meant that this person has had to leave, hence what's been included in a power and conflict anthology. Okay, so I'm going to read the poem through to you. This is not any sort of replacement for a more detailed study. This is just me going over the basics so that you can start thinking about writing some comparison essays. Okay. There was once a country. I left it as a child, but my memory of it is sunlight clear. For it seems I never saw it in that November, which I am told comes to the mildest city. The worst news I receive of it cannot break my original view. The bright filled paperweight. It may be at war, it may be sick with tyrants, but I am branded by an impression of sunlight. The white streets of that city, the graceful slopes glow even clearer as time rolls its tanks, and the frontiers rise between us close like waves. That child's vocabulary I carried here like a hollow doll opens and spills a grammar. Soon I shall have every coloured molecule of it. It may by now be a lie, banned by the state, but I can't get it off my tongue. Taste of sunlight. I have no passport. There's no way back at all. But my city comes to me in its own white plane. It lies down in front of me, docile as paper. I comb its hair and love its shining eyes. My city takes me dancing through the city of walls. They accuse me of absence. They circle me. They accuse me of being dark in their free city. My city hides behind me. They mutter death, and my shadow falls as evidence of sunlight. Right, okay, so let's start off right at the beginning. There once was a country. Okay, now that opening makes us feel like this is some sort of fairy tale, once upon a time. And once suggests that it's in the past and it's changed since then. Because we've got this ellipsis here, I always think of an ellipsis as being like, at the end of EastEnders where it goes dun, 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 and you think about, what's going to happen next? It leaves a gap that the reader can put their own thoughts into. So there once was a country. We've got that fairy tale idea, and we've also got the idea that something has changed from what it was like in the past. There once was a country. I left it as a child, but my memory of it is sunlight clear. Now there's two important things here. First of all, we've got a motif of sunlight. So there is this idea of sunlight and all the connotations of sunlight, happiness, optimism, good weather, fun times ahead. It's repeated throughout the poem. Sunlight, 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 and then sunlight again right at the end. So that repetition of it means that it's a recurring theme. And we'll come on to that a little bit in a moment. Also, the interesting thing here is that the place that she's talking about is never named. It's just referred to as it, which is repeated throughout the first stanza. Why has she not named the place? Well, there's two reasons. First of all, it might be that the memories of the place are so personal that she doesn't want to say it. Maybe it's too painful to say actually the city where she's come from. But most importantly, if it's just called it could be about anywhere. It could be a poem all about Birmingham and the thoughts and the memories of childhood, my childhood. So this poem could be read by anybody who's had to move from one place to another. and it will relate to them, and it will say, your memories, your good memories, your lovely memories of somewhere, that place might be different now, but you've still got those positive memories in your mind. So far we've got the meaning of emigre, the fact that it's a female person who's moved from one country to another, the fact that it opens like a fairy tale, make us think, is this true, is this not? There's a question about her memories, are they reliable? We've got the ellipsis, so there is something that is not being said, the repetition of the motif of sunlight, so the memory of it being a sunny place, also suggesting that it's somewhere far away, and the fact that the place is just referred to as it. So it could be any place. It doesn't necessarily have to be a named city. Okay, so this memory that she's talking about, the whole theme of it, is like a bright filled paperweight. Now, this metaphor is also an important one because it's talking about, one of those things that you buy when you're on holiday, and it's a little picture of the place, and it's usually sunny and it's nice and you can keep it there. Well, it's talking about something you'd buy that would give you a memory, and also the fact that it's a positive view and it doesn't change. If you've got a paperweight with a picture of somewhere that you've been that you remember, the picture doesn't change. It's always the same. And this picture is bright. Her memories, her thoughts about her city are not changing. And she develops this with, it may be at war, it may be sick with tyrants, but I am branded by an impression of sunlight. So the place that she came from might be at war now, but still in her mind, that memory is happy and bright. It may be sick with tyrants. So this is suggesting something to do with the politics of the place that she's come from. Is there some evil ruler there? Is it a place like Iraq? But I'm branded by an impression of sunlight. Now, branded is also very interesting. We brand animals. It's where they heat up a bit of metal and then they singe them and show that they are owned by somewhere. Now, she's owned by her city, but she's been branded by her city. Her everlasting impression of that city is one of sunlight. It's positive. Now, branding is quite a painful and long-lasting, well, it lasts you forever. It's like getting a tattoo. So she's branded by an impression of sunlight. Her memories will not change. She will always belong to that city, and she will always have these positive thoughts about where she came from. And we go on to the second stanza. The white streets of that city, the graceful slopes glow even clearer as time rolls its tanks. Well, that's another interesting metaphor, talking about this idea that time is moving forward now. Tanks are destructive. So as time passes, perhaps her memories are being destroyed. Perhaps just like the city that she came from is also being destroyed by this tyrant with tanks. So we've got this idea here that while her memories are full of sunlight, the actual real place has got tanks and tyrants. The frontiers rise between us, close like waves. That child's vocabulary I carried here like a hollow doll. Right, so we've got some similes here. Close like waves, like a hollow doll. Now this is an interesting piece here. A child's vocabulary, simplistic, meaningless. Is her memory hollow? Does it have nothing of any great value inside it? Is it not real? And this hollow doll, her memories open and the language comes out of it and she can almost taste it. We've got this personification of her memories. I have no passport. There's no way back at all, but my city comes to me in its own white plane. It lies down in front of me, docile as paper. Okay, so we have another simile here, comparing the city and memories to paper. Now, these memories could be photographs. These memories could be diary entries, anything she's written, or she's saying that she can touch those memories. She can remember them any time she likes, and they don't change. Now we've got personification of the city. I comb its hair and love its shining eyes. My city takes me dancing through the city of walls. All positive, all emotional, all happy memories of her time. But then we have this contrast here with they. Who are they? We do not know. We are not told. They accuse me of absence. They circle me. They accuse me of being dark in their free city. My city hides behind me. They mutter death. So these they, we assume that they are linked to the tanks and the tyrants. So there is some sort of presence that we don't know that is darkening these lovely memories that she had. Well, finally, my shadow falls as evidence of sunlight. Right, now this is really interesting because my shadow, we would think darkness, evidence of sunlight. So we've got the sunlight, we've got the positivity. So this is a really positive ending because even though at the end where they are gathering round her and they are making accusations, she casts a shadow, but the shadow isn't what she's focusing on. She's focusing on the fact that you need sunlight to be able to cast a shadow. So she's saying that if everything was dark and black in the city, there wouldn't be any shadows. So the overall message that's coming from this is that even though where we come from might have been destroyed, even if we can't go back because we've got no passports, that memory, that bright filled paperweight in your mind is what's important. And she's still got that positive sunlit picture in her mind of where she came from to fall back on. Okay? Right. Look at your copy of the poem, annotate these things on it, and then we'll come back and we'll have a talk about how we can compare different poems to others.